mindset's something we always have to deal with. We're always going to have minds. It's not a one and done. You can't go, okay, well, I feel great today. I did my meditation or I read affirmations or I did whatever. It's part of the human experience.
Welcome to the Unleash Your Ambition podcast. I'm your host, Stacie Walker, and the founder of Unleash Your Ambition. This is the #1 podcast designed to help driven entrepreneurs raise their standards, unleash their brilliance, and elevate their lives. It's time to say yes to yourself, speak your truth, be empowered, and build an amazing business and incredible lifestyle. And do it in a way that's aligned with your mission, your vision, and personality. Now, let's dive into today's episode. Hello, Ambitious One, and welcome to the Unleash Your Ambition podcast. I'm your host, Stacie Walker. I appreciate you hanging out with me and my co-host for today's episode. To have a thriving business, there's a certain mindset you must adopt to think strategically, to make decisions with a long-term vision, and lead with confidence and clarity. By embracing this mindset, you'll develop the discipline to prioritize what truly matters, aligning your actions with your business goals and your personal goals. My featured co-host for this episode is Carmen Reed-Gilkison. Carmen and I have a conversation about the power of a CEO mindset for unstoppable business success. Carmen is an online business manager, a whole person certified coach with over 25 years of marketing experience. And she's also the co-founder of Encore Empire. Carmen and her business partner, Deirdre Harter, are business strategists who work with service-based entrepreneurs. What I truly admire about Carmen and Deirdre is that they help business owners over 40 who are ready to own the power they've spent decades building. All right, grab your pen, your paper, and your favorite drink and get the most out of this episode. Carmen, thank you so much for being on the episode for today. I'm really excited that you're here. Can you please share who you are, what you do, and how you help people?
Sure. Thank you so much. I'm super excited to be here too, Stacie. So my name is Carmen Reed-Gilkison. I'm an online business manager and whole person certified coach. I'm also the co-founder of Encore Empire, where my business partner Deirdre and I serve entrepreneurs who happen to be over 40. We help them step into the role of CEO. So what happens is when we all get excited about starting a business, we become a CEO by default, right? Because you start a business and suddenly, whether you're ready or not, you are the CEO of that business. But there's a difference between a default CEO and an empowered CEO. And so our approach, which is very similar to yours, which is one of the reasons I was so happy to be on this show, is it's a holistic approach. So we talk about everything, and mindset is a big part of that. And what does it mean to step into the role of CEO, and why do you need to embrace that, and how easy it is when you know how. So it's all about, the gaps in the market that we fill are teaching the business of business, which a lot of people don't do that. You can go learn a certain skill, and skills are great, but you can learn copywriting, you can learn podcasting, you can learn website design, whatever it is. And all those things can help you, but those alone are not going to help you learn how to run a business. So that's what our specialty is. My business partner is a CPA, so she's got that whole background, and we pull that together with the whole person certified coach thing and the mindset and roll it all into one awesome way to serve our clients.
I love that. Thank you so much, Carmen, for the beautiful introduction. Today, we're going to talk about cultivating the mindset of a CEO. And I agree with you because there's so many strategies, tactics. There's an abundance of that online. And when anyone is starting their business, they're not thinking that they need to work on their mindset. They need to cultivate a different mindset, especially if they came out of the corporate environment.
Yeah.
No one teaches us this, not unless you were raised in a household, Tony Robbins household, maybe, or something like that, So before we get into that, I'm curious, Carmen, why mindset? What was your personal journey to getting you to where you are right now and how you're helping people?
When I started out, I was working in corporate, and I knew that I gave myself 5 years to figure out this whole online business thing, and I wasn't sure what I was going to do, but I was really good with tech, and I love marketing. I did marketing in corporate, and I'm like, I'm going to help local brick and mortar business owners learn how to do social media marketing. And that was like at the time when Amazon was just starting to get big and people were worried about our local businesses and all of that was going on. And up until that point, they really hadn't had a need to get online. I mean, some were ahead of the curve and they were already online. And so, but what I learned by going into that direction was, I could teach someone something by following a step-by-step process, by having a strategy, laying it out, do these steps, and you will get this result. But what I kept hitting up against was this overwhelm and this mindset of, I don't want to learn how to do that. I can't do that. That's not, it was a whole mindset thing. And I thought, oh my gosh, I don't know how to address mindset. I know how to teach people something, but how am I going to learn this? And so I was also a very big skeptic of coaching because there's so much out there on the online space, and you see things that are programs are for $10,000, and then, well, you get certified as a coach for $35. And it's like, what? So, I started doing my research into the coaching industry to find out what, is there even a governing body? And so I found the International Federation of Coaching, or ICF, Coaching Federation. And then there's another one as well that I can't think of their name, but those two were the gold standard. And I found an ICF accredited program, which was whole person certified coaching. And I loved that because it was holistic. And so I kind of was like, I don't know what this is going to be like, but we might as well try it and see if it works. And oh my gosh, it just changed everything for me because it really helped me understand how to help shift people's perspective and their mindset through questions and just helping them look at things through a different lens. So I realized through that why mindset's so important. And that's what we help with our clients as well, as I'm sure you do with yours.
Oh, absolutely. Like the mindset and the business strategy, it can't be separate,
No.
at all. And even our lives, like because there's very few, I mean, I know there's more coaching programs and mentorship available. There's more now, but there's the vast majority does not teach mindset, which
Mm.
I think that has a lot to do why there's only like what it's still at like 96% of business owners quit. I don't know if it's 96, but it's pretty darn high.
Yeah.
And my belief is that it has to do with no one is helping them not only understand how their mind works, but just learning how to see things differently. Because that's a whole new set of skill sets in itself, and it's something that's ever changing. It's not like you learn WordPress
Right.
or some tool. Like this is our minds are just so elaborate and so sophisticated. And what I love about how you help the people that you work with is that you break things down in a way that's going to really help them understand how their mind works so they can speed up their results, because
Yeah.
strategy will only get us so far. Will only get us so far. And I think having mindset at the top, at the forefront of everything really changes how everyone builds their business.
I agree. And you bring up
Mhm.
such a good point. I think mindset has to be part of the strategy. And I think that's where there's been a big disconnect for so long, is that it's like, well, here's how you can do this thing, which is great. Again, skills are great. But when you think about small business owners and solopreneurs and even business owners that have a small team, like you said, our minds are so amazing, and mindset's something we always have to deal with. We're always going to have minds, and our mind, it's not a one and done. You can't go, okay, well, I feel great today. I did my meditation, or I read affirmations, or I did whatever, and now I'm fixed, or, fixed isn't the right word, but you know what I mean? It's like, it's not a one and done. And so it's part of the human experience. And when you think about the fact of a solopreneur, so many of us are doing things just on our own, and emotion comes into it, and that can be triggered by a thought, or someone said something to you, and then that can cause a ripple effect into, oh my gosh, well, now I feel like it feeds into imposter syndrome and all those other things that are very, very real. And we have to start empowering entrepreneurs with the tools and skill sets to be able to go, wait a minute. I am aware, because awareness is a big piece of this. I'm aware that I'm falling into this trap, or I'm aware that, like, why am I thinking that? And so, I'd like to practice this with myself a lot, and I encourage the listeners to do this too. If something's coming up for you, maybe someone said something and it made you angry, or you're feeling less than about something. Well, instead of just letting yourself feel angry or less than, let's dive into it and ask why, and really keep asking why. There's an exercise that's like the 7 or 12 layers of why, and you ask the question why, you get an answer, and you ask why again, and you get an answer. You keep asking, because it's a defense mechanism. These things that come up for us, the mindset that happens automatically, these fears, the things that are trying to keep us safe, tell us, oh, don't put yourself out there. Don't do that. That's scary, right? It's a defense mechanism. So we have to then go, okay, thank you so much for trying to protect me, mind, or fear or whatever, but I don't need this right now. And so we really have to kind of create this inner dialogue, and that takes practice, but it should be part of everything we do.
Yes, I couldn't agree with you more. So could you share, and of course, I know like this episode's not going to be able to go over everything, but I would love for you to share, like, what is, like, let's say someone's new to working with you, like, I guess, what is the process that you take them through to help cultivate their mindset? I know awareness is like most likely the first step, but I'm curious to know, like, how you help someone cultivate that mindset that's really going to help them propel in their business.
Sure. So we really focus on the fact that, okay, you are the CEO of your business, and we want to take a look at, well, what does that mean? What that means really is a CEO is like the steward. You have stewardship over your business, and that means that the business is separate from you. Yes, our businesses can be our babies and all of that, but really it's a separate entity. And we have to rise above our emotions for a minute and look at, well, what does this business need to succeed? So one of the first things we do with our clients is, first of all, we plan out what are your goals for the year, and we reverse engineer back, and we do quarterly planning to help them achieve that. And we have them rate themselves in some certain categories. How do you feel about this process? Your marketing, your messaging, there's various categories. But aside from that, it's set aside CEO time to plan for your business. CEOs have time set aside to do the planning. And I think what happens, especially because we're solopreneurs, is we get really caught up in the doing, and it's very easy to do. And it feels good, right? Oh, I got this much done. I checked off all these things. I did this. Well, if you do that, that's how we end up spinning our wheels and not getting anything done. We might make a little bit of progress. And this also speaks to that if you were an employee in corporate, or even if it wasn't corporate, you were an employee somewhere else, well, to be valuable meant that you needed to show you could get your job done. And so we kind of drag that over into business. And yes, we have to get things done, of course, but we have to look at what is the most important thing to get done today to help me reach this monthly, quarterly, annual goal. And all of it ties back. So reverse engineering is a big piece, but like Deirdre and I, we set aside 4 hours a week on Mondays for our CEO time. And that allows us, that's the time when we're not doing anything, but we are talking about, okay, we just ran this thing, or we're going to run this thing this time, and what's going to happen with it, and how close are we? Especially like right now, it's at the time of this recording, it's June of 2024, so we're in the second half of the year now. So we can look back and say, okay, how did this first half go? And we do that in quarterly planning as well, but it spills over into the CEO time. So you have to make time to do the CEO activities, and planning is one of those, because CEOs don't guess. They plan, they review, they look at the data to help them make growth decisions. And they're able to look at the business through different vantage points. They get out of the weeds of I'm going to do, and they're able to rise above that. And they have to rise above it, right? You have to be the visionary of, here's my vision. Here's why I started this. Like, it comes back to your why too. everyone gets excited about starting a business because you have a passion for something. And what is that thing? And we don't want to lose track of that. We want to keep that at the forefront, but we have to then have the time to plan the strategies and everything to get us there. And that requires that CEO time.
I love that. So that CEO time, I think, is I agree with you. It's important. And 4 hours every week, that is a good amount of time to just really dedicate to your vision and just reflecting on what you've done this year, what's worked, what hasn't worked, where can you make room for improvements? Because I agree with you. I know from my personal experience, from my entrepreneur journey, I wasn't a great planner in the first 3 years. I mean, I think it's a miracle that I earned income. I don't even know how I even did it, but
Yeah.
I was a terrible planner. But it's night and day from being able to not only be the visionary, but staying close to your vision, making sure you're taking intentional action, in your business operations and in your life. It
Mhm.
makes a huge difference because I know that there are so many people that wing it. I mean, I used to be one of them. And I tell you, it it creates overwhelm, it creates stress.
Yes.
We waste so many days and hours on things that we probably didn't even have to work on, which means that we just wasted time that we cannot get back.
Yes.
So I love you being able to help your clients with making sure they prioritize that CEO time. Of course, getting clear on their vision, their goals, and reverse engineering it, but making it a priority for that CEO time, I think, is absolutely life changing.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be 4 hours. I mean, there's two of us, so we can get into conversations and
Yeah.
maybe end up talking long, but it's not just about, it's also, we always look at then what's going on with our clients. Let's touch base with our clients.
Hmm.
Because there's two of us too, we want to make sure we're on the same page with our clients. So we kind of take that time to do that.
Hmm.
But that's a great time for you to look at as a CEO, how is my client delivery going? There's these different, you could line out the different areas of your business that you want to evaluate and check
Hmm.
in on. And
Hmm.
those could be my marketing activities, my sales, my client services, my,
Hmm.
whatever they are for you. But that's the time to do it, because if we don't do it, we really do feel overwhelmed. Like you said, we start doing all these things because we know how to do the things, but then you're always kind of in the back of your mind, you're like, oh my gosh, I never have time to do this, or I never have time to think about that. So now we're saying, put that time first, right?
Yes, absolutely. And you did mention this earlier, Carmen, about like having a holistic approach, which means that um it's also gonna, like, you're not trying to fit all your clients into a
No, yeah,
box. You're
that's right.
allowing them the freedom to decide on when they're gonna do this. This could be 5 minutes every day. It could be whatever it is, but the goal is to dedicate some time to it. I love doing it every day. That's like one of the first things that I do every morning. And yeah, my process is a little different, but it's the same means to an end. And I know
Yeah,
without that, I would not be clear on what I needed to do for the day or the month or the quarter. So it really makes a difference. And you're right, CEOs don't wing it. CEOs
yeah,
plan. CEOs
that's
are
right.
organized. Successful CEOs plan and organize, and that definitely takes a different mindset, compared to being an employee, or working in an environment, whether it's corporate or wherever. It does take a different shift in your mindset.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yes.
And I know that you talk about this in your episodes because I've listened to a bunch of them and I love them. The other thing that CEOs do is I mentioned that they gather, review, and look at data to help them make growth decisions. So start tracking metrics. This is one thing we want our clients to do as well. And we want to look at their leading metrics and their lagging metrics. And when we talk about that, it can get very scary and people don't understand. But one thing I think I'll say too, real quick, while we get onto these topics that you might not be familiar with, the listeners, if it seems scary or overwhelming, it's just an indication that you need to learn something. That's all. No one knows it all. You just start, dipping your toe in the water to learn about this. And so when we talk about leading metrics, these are the things that we're familiar with. Like, I'm going to send an email to my list once a week. I'm going to run my workshop 4 times a year. I'm going to post on social media X times a day, or whatever those are. Those are the things I'm going to do. They're leading. Lagging metrics are what happened when you did those things. And so we have to take time to look at both. And I think that's a big piece that people miss, is they'll go, well, I've been posting and I've been writing and I've been doing this and nothing's working, but what are they actually looking at? You have to know what your objective is for the thing you're going to do. So a workshop or some kind of launch most likely is to convert people to become clients. Social media posting could be a couple of different things. Attract new people, nurture the ones you have, start a conversation, see how much engagement you can get. Your email list, how many clicks can I get in the email? How many people can I get to reply back to me? Test these things. And one of the episodes of yours I listened to, Stacie, was you talked about becoming the scientist. And I always say, put your Sherlock Holmes hat on. It's the same thing. And it makes this kind of stuff fun. So you can go, okay, here's what I want to do. I want to see how many responses to my email I can get this week. And that could be your goal for the next 6 months with every email. And you're just trying different ways to get a response, right? And so you start it allows you to go deep instead of wide with your audience and know what matters most to them, and then gather those metrics that let you go, oh my gosh, my audience loves it when I do this. Well, you're not going to know what that is if we don't stop to define something, that whatever this is, and that if we don't take the time to try it and then collect the data and then review the data and see how it went. And and as we like to say, to do things 6 times or 6 months, whichever is longer, to get the best data, because you have to do something long enough to get the data.
Yes, I could not agree with you more on that. And yes, I love your Sherlock Holmes. You get to be Sherlock Holmes. Yeah, I'm the mad scientist. I had to shift my mindset because around that, because I used to be like obsessed with the data so much that it didn't feel good. And I was like,
Yeah.
no, let me get rid of the emotions. Well, it's not really get rid of them. They're always there, but let me not be attached to the outcome. Let me just look at this. This is data. Data has no feeling. So
Yeah.
let's take a look at it. And yes, I love it. I love seeing which ways can I do a different spin on it. And you're so right, Carmen. It's about going deeper and not wide. I think we can get even better results if we go deeper. Because that really dives into, like, especially when you have the data, you have something to work with,
Yes.
because your emotions can literally run the show if you don't have data, because you can assume something's not working, but if you're not tracking it, you're assuming
Exactly.
it could be working. You don't think it is, but maybe it's working, but you haven't been applying it long enough.
Yeah.
I know for me personally, I like a good runway to see if something's working, and that's usually about a quarter, about 90 days,
Yeah.
and then measure, um, see what needs to be improved and run it again, and just
Yes.
keep on doing that, because that's where I don't think a lot of people talk about this enough. I know it's
Yeah.
talked about, but it's not talked about enough. Like, we cannot try something once or twice and think it's going to work. Not unless you have like not unless you're doing things that are already working, and
Yeah.
you can do that, but that's not the case for most people at all. So I love the being able to make sure that you measure your data. So having your clients just really look at that. And yeah, it can be a little scary, but it's just data. It's something that you can work with.
Yes. Well,
Mhm.
if we think about mastery in anything, it requires going deep, not wide. So if you think about
Mhm.
any of the people, whoever you look up to in the industry that you're in, and they're doing great things, I'll just say like Amy Porterfield or Rachel Rogers or Gary Vee or
Mhm.
Tony Robbins or any of those people who are doing great things. they stuck with it and learned what worked. They didn't go, oh, okay, well, that didn't, maybe they did in the very beginning. You know, I think Amy's pretty clear, transparent about the things that she's done and the mistakes she made. But it's like you want things to be rinse and repeat easy for you. And that's
Yeah.
the other benefit of collecting this data and doing things more than once, because it's not, you're not going to learn until you keep doing it. And then you go, that was interesting. This didn't work because I wonder why. And then go look into it and change one thing. Don't change 12 things, and then try it again. And so when you look at it that way, it helps you remove that emotion, like you were saying, because it's really easy to go, oh my gosh, I had a failed launch, and everyone has a failed launch. I don't care how far you are into your business. If you're testing things out, you're gonna have failures, which is also okay, because that's data. And you go, all right. So don't let your self-worth be too tied to that.
Oh, not at all. The way that I think about it is like, you're worthy, period,
Yeah.
and having the right mindset about this is that just trust that you're going to get better, trust that you're going to figure it out.
Yeah.
I mean, it really comes down to trust, and also that data really helps. It
Yes. Well,
really
it
does.
tells you what to do, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So what else? What is another thing that you help your clients with when it comes to helping them cultivate that CEO mindset?
We help them understand how to use their audience, the feedback from their audience, like build what they're doing with their audience by connecting with their audience on an emotional level. And that comes down to knowing them. And how do you know them? Well, you have to start paying attention to them. So if you don't have clients yet, you want to identify who is your ideal client. I know we've all done the avatar worksheet, and there's, people say they like it, people that say they hate it. We have to start with something. So who is it you want to work with? Where do they hang out? And then let's go look at how you can connect with them on an emotional level. Let's go look at what they're saying. Let's go look at what their dreams are. Let's go look at what their challenges are. And we help our audience understand, or our clients understand, how to do that by picking good places to find where your ideal client might be hanging out, by learning how to listen and interact with them in conversations. There's a low touch method and a high touch method.
Mhm.
And then by using ideal client language, so you collect that language and then you use it in your
Mhm.
messaging to attract those kind of people that you want. And so that is more in the marketing thing. It's not as much mindset, but I think what it does for our clients that really helps with the mindset is it helps them go, oh my gosh, I'm getting the best people. People are telling me it's like, me. It's like I found the right person, because your messaging starts resonating with who you need it to resonate with. And that just helps boost your mindset, and it boosts your marketing and your sales as well.
Absolutely. And you know, I think it does go into mindset, because if you don't have a different perspective, I know you're helping them through this, but if you don't have a different perspective of like being in areas where their best fit client or customer is in abundance, then it's going to be it's going to be a struggle,
Yeah.
because those of us who don't have a marketing background, business background, building our own businesses for the first time, we don't know these things. What we don't know, we
Right.
don't know. And I think it's important, like we have to be like where our best fit clients or customers are in abundance. So it's great that you help them, with knowing who their ideal client or customer is and where they're hanging out, because that does make a difference. Instead of them having to chase people, they can attract people that are actively looking for a problem, finding a community is great,
Yes.
and nowadays it's so easy to either join a community or create your own community. So I love everything that you've shared today, Carmen. And I know that, this time has gone by so fast, but I will definitely, we can continue this conversation again on another podcast. But for
Sure.
right now, where can people connect with you and learn more about you outside of the podcast?
So I'm active on Facebook and LinkedIn. We have a Facebook group called the Empire of Unstoppable Midlife. Let me say this again.
Yeah.
The Empire of Unstoppable Midlife Entrepreneurs.
Mhm.
So if you look up that, it's Empire of Unstoppable Entrepreneurs is the end of that URL. We are Deirdre and I are both active on LinkedIn. We're active on Facebook as well. So feel free to reach out. Our website's also a great place to go, which is encoreempire.com. And then I'd love to invite your listeners to join us
Mhm.
for our free marketing methodology workshop,
Okay.
where we will help you plan out your next 12 months of marketing and content. And you'll walk away with your annual plan and quarterly content all mapped out, complete with resources you get to keep, and it's all free. And to
Ooh.
do that, they can go to encoreempire.com/unleash.
Wonderful. And for those of you watching and listening, I will have all the links available in the description box of the video or the show notes on the unleashyourambition.com blog. So, Carmen, before we close out, I wanted to say this. Like, I love that you and I'm sorry, what is your partner's name, business partner's name?
Deirdre.
Deirdre. I hope I get to speak with her one day.
Yeah.
I love it that you're helping people in their 40s or over 40s. I'm in that category. I'm almost 50. So the thing is that I'm so happy that you are helping, people that are over 40, because I know with people in the younger generation, their experience running businesses online is just totally different from ours.
Yes.
Totally
Yes.
different from ours. So I just really appreciate you helping us over 40 people out here, ambitious people out here, become hugely successful in their businesses. So I would love for you to share some final words of wisdom for the person who, oh my goodness, they have been it's seemingly trying to do everything. They've tried different things. Nothing seems to be working. They've hired mentors. They've hired coaches. They've taken all the courses. They've done this and that. Um, but they're not well versed in really having CEO mindset. What is like something that you'd like to share with that person to help them know that, like this is something, having cultivating a CEO mindset is going to be something that's going to change their life, not only their
Yeah.
business, but their life.
Yeah. Well, it comes down to, instead of looking outward for everything and the answers, you start looking inward. That's another piece we didn't really cover that we can maybe cover in another conversation. But it's so important. As humans, we're geared to looking outside. What is everyone else doing? Oh, I need to do that. I invite and give permission to everyone to stop and sit in some silence and really, really, really honor whatever it is you want. Like, you can do whatever you want. You just have to identify it, not be afraid of it, not be afraid of what other people think of you for it, and identify what that is, so that then you can make a plan to get there. And I think that's a big piece of the pie that gets missed, is they think, I want to be like that person. I want to be like that person. And it's great to have mentors or people to look up to, but you're brand new. You're unique. No one else can be like you. So let's lean into who we are and start honoring ourselves, because that's going to be your first step to cultivating the mindset that supports you through all the ups and downs of business ownership.